everybody. Welcome to another episode of Simply Nerdy. I'm your host, Steven. I'm joined today by David.
Hello again.
By Anthony.
Yo.
And by Lisa.
Hello.
And we are here to talk about our thoughts on Metroid Dread because it finally released after 19 years. We played it for about 19 years. And now we're going to talk, just kidding, not 19 years, probably like 12 hours. And we're here to talk about it with all of you guys. But here's some front-end stuff. So if you're watching our YouTube channel, we will not be showing any footage past the beginning of the game. So you're safe there. There will be no cutscenes, only gameplay. So you're safe to watch. If you want to hear our discussion without any visuals, you're welcome to look at our podcast. We've got it up there as well. Let's turn the time over to Anthony. Why don't you give us your thoughts first?
When things were getting closer to the release time and we were seeing a lot of the trailers and a lot of the things that they were doing to not only promote this game, but also kind of highlighting some of the new elements and also just kind of the level of polish that they were bringing to this game, that I just kind of started to get that little spidey sense sort of tingle, like this could be really like the renaissance for Metroid that I've been hoping for. Like, you know, kind of the Breath of the Wild of the Metroid franchise. Anyway, I just started to wonder, like, you know, it's looking like they're putting enough effort in for it to be that good. Well, I personally am happy to report that this takes the cake for me of all of the Metroid games, and not just the 2D ones, which honestly are some of the best ones anyway, but all of them. Like, I have never been this pleased with a Metroid game before, and I've played most of them. I guess, you know, if you count Federation Force, then
I was gonna say, you even like it more than Federation Force?
No one counts Federation Force. Federation Force does not exist. Sorry, Federation Force.
I guess we'll just kind of have to take turns getting into the reasons why, or at least I'll take my turns because I don't want to spend the whole time just chatting your ears off. But this really, for me, and I think maybe the biggest reasons for me come down to just the ways that they've really made Samus's movement so fluid. Like, her mobility is better than ever before. And they also were finally willing to ramp up the difficulty. And, you know, that's something that Metroid has rarely had. By contrast, here's the point I'm trying to make. By contrast, I have seen the game over screen probably several dozens of times in Dread. And I'm comparing apples to apples here. I know everyone has their different levels of skill, but I'm comparing myself to myself. I literally just played Super Metroid and now I'm playing Dread. And the difficulty difference is very notable because I didn't have that problem in Super and I do in Dread, and I'm actually really delighted by that because for me, challenge is what makes a game worth playing. So I love that they ramped up the challenge because I feel like I actually have to work for my victories, and I've never felt that it's been unfair. I did a recent battle last night while I was playing that was one of the hardest fights I've ever had in a Metroid game, and I was laughing hysterically with glee practically the whole time because it's just so well done. And there's certain, I won't do ability spoilers here, but there's one ability in particular that just makes your mobility so good that, like, one of the first times I had a boss battle where I had its use, I was like, I just suddenly got this really crazy impression that, now this is an extremely good thing, a crazy impression that it was like I was playing Mega Man. Now, Mega Man, you know, not as good a franchise in my opinion as Metroid, but when it comes to boss design, very few games can top Mega Man. And there was just a moment there where I was like, oh my gosh, this feels just like Mega Man, and I love that. These battles are challenging, and I'm having to learn the patterns, and I'm having to like zip around about the room. That's not something you've ever had to do, and or could do in Metroid games before. And I am thrilled. Honestly, I will always love the earlier entries in the franchise, but they will all feel like major steps down after Dread.
Yeah, Metroid Dread. I'm not nearly as far as you, Anthony or Steven, and I think Lisa's ahead of me too. But my goodness, like, I started the game. I'm just so excited to play a new Metroid after so long that I just stood and watched the title screen, listened to the familiar song, and was just like soaking it in. I was like, yes. Once I was finally playing, I just kind of stood there and like tested out Samus's movement. I wasn't even like trying to go anywhere yet. I was just like using the aim, and shooting all around the room, and just being impressed with how much detail they put into her movement animations. Even something as simple as just how she aims her gun, right? Something that before the game released, somebody pointed out that I also noticed while playing the game is that like when you run up to a wall, especially if there's like a small gap, she'll like put her hand up against the wall, and then you can like aim freely just by pushing against the wall. It's just,
I love that detail right there.
yeah, it's just so much detail into how Samus moves and animates, and I literally like several minutes just like played and experimented with the movement, just appreciating those details.
David, I admit I did the same thing.
I did the same thing. For a long time, I was playing with the aiming because I was liking the way that they like even went into detail for like when you're aiming in front of you, she does like have her arm to help the aim. And then when you get behind you, her arm, it wouldn't make sense for her to be able to like have her arm way behind her. So she like has it just kind of like
Holding her shoulder
or like being ready to like when she comes back forward. But I was playing with that because I was just like, oh, I like that so much. Anyway.
The counter move, I actually liked it a lot in Samus Returns, and it always bothered me that was something people like really struggled with. Like, oh, the counter move is so like an annoying thing they added. They made it so much better in this game,
Yes, they did.
So I always thought it was great in the first place, but now you can do it like almost offensive, as an offensive move, not just wait for the flash of light and then use it, Even if you mistime it, it still like knocks the enemy back, and it's especially fun to like do the dashing counter.
Yes, it is.
Counters are powerful. Like there are enemies that take like 5 or 6 missiles that if you pull off a counter, they're dead.
All right, so I kind of wanted to go off of what you guys are already saying about Samus's motions, because that's the first thing I played with too, David and Lisa, is the motion. I love it. And the way that Samus continuously runs and climbs over small ledges without having to jump over them. It's so nice and so fun to kind of just see her just whoop, like parkour over that step, and you can just keep going. Like her movements are so fluid. It's insane. That's what I had to say about that. Going back to Anthony, I think Anthony, you were talking about the cutscenes earlier, or someone was. David, was that you?
I just talked about the opening like cinematic.
Yes, so we're not going to talk about any of that in this podcast or in this video, depending on where you're watching. But I'll just say that the cutscenes are absolutely amazing. Like David was saying, like the level of detail in those are awesome. And they really make Samus look like a serious bounty hunter. Samus is confident, strong, and not afraid to... She's like fearless, and it's awesome. So that's all I'm going to say about cutscenes. Let's get Lisa's thoughts in first, and then we'll go back.
Okay, so I started playing, and I extremely enjoyed myself.
Woohoo!
So
Yay!
As I've stated before, I was kind of filled with trepidation coming into this game because
She was filled with dread.
you might even call it dread. No.
Dread.
So just because of some things I stated about, like, I was worried I'd be too scared to do any of this stuff, like go into enemy zones. But the game was compelling to the point where I kind of just wanted to play it all day yesterday, and I had a lot to do, so,
Woo!
so yeah. And I would say they've made a whole lot of really amazing quality of life adjustments. Like the aiming is amazing, and then everything down to like the loading screens. Some of the loading screens, oh, I love them. But one thing I love is they have like some more cinematic moments during some of the boss fights, and they just feel so amazing.
I was gonna point that out.
Amazing.
Lisa, you probably love this. Yeah, it was. Oh, they're so good. Yeah,
they make me lose my freaking mind. Just like
they are awesome.
Total fangirling. Wow. Okay.
I laughed hysterically and screamed with glee at some of those parts, so I'm with you there. Those are some of my favorite moments. And the most recent boss battle I fought, there was one of those sequences, the cinematic sequences, if you get a melee counter off properly, that I just was sitting there laughing hysterically in disbelief at how epic the response was. And I was just mashing the missile button while just laughing my head off because it was so cool. One of the things I love most about Dread, in addition to just being an exceptionally well-made game, it seems like it's also the game where they're trying to redeem Samus's character. Because I feel like a lot of people have really struggled with who Samus is ever since Other M. Now, I wasn't one of those people that hated Other M, at least as a game, but I never, I don't love what they did with her character. I don't like how she was so subservient to Adam, and that for whatever reason, her emotional state made her lose control of her power suit. Like, what on earth? Where did you come up with these ideas? Anyway, it really did a number on her character, and it almost feels like Dread was designed specifically to counter that. Like, I have never seen Samus this boss before.
Same.
Like, every time I see her do something just completely sick, and I'm just sitting there like, okay, why are you so cool? Why are you the coolest?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I love it. Yep. I feel like this game is the perfect fusion between Super Metroid and Metroid Fusion. The navigation rooms give you the story, the context, information, but you're never told where you're supposed to go, which leaves you to freely explore and find the next objective on your own, which is awesome. I love it. The perfect Metroid formula is you get a new item, unlocks a new area. And this follows that same formula, but like you're not hand-holded through the whole thing. Like Anthony said, you are here to struggle. And I have never seen that game over screen so many times as I have in this game because I've died a lot. I have not beaten the game yet, but I feel like Metroid Dread has finally dethroned the previous king of the 2D Metroid games, being Super Metroid.
It's the Queen, Steven.
Oh, the Queen. Samus, I apologize.
Yes.
It's the mother brain.
Oh!
There you go.
I wholeheartedly agree, Steven. I felt like early on that I was enjoying myself enough that it would surpass Super Metroid, especially since I have the immediate context of having recently just replayed Super Metroid. Now, I've played the snot out of that game, which shows that I really, really like it. But I have to say that I don't remember ever feeling this much satisfaction with playing any of the other previous games, and I love them all. But this one just has filled me with this constant sense of just like, just that happy place feeling where you just feel warm in your heart, and you're just like, this is the greatest thing ever. I've just had this I've just been aglow with how awesome this game has made me feel. And I don't know if I'm using strange terms here. Anyway, it has not only dethroned Super Metroid for me, but done so handily.
Samus is just a freaking beast in this game, and it's like,
love it. Ooh. David, you're being unusually quiet.
I haven't gotten far enough along to like make the same decisions as you.
That's fine.
oh!
Super Metroid has been a favorite for a long time for a lot of reasons, but Samus has never been more awesome in the series. I can easily say that. I love seeing Samus's character in this game. That's easily the best characterization she's ever had in the series, in my opinion. I started playing and like I was just immediately like fully satisfied with the game. Like, this is what I want. I wanted a new Metroid, here it is. I haven't decided where it ranks against my favorites from the series yet, but it feels like there's a good chance it could end up being like my favorite.
This is probably the best that I've seen Metroid get in terms of like story and storytelling, and so for me, I agree with Steven. I feel like it has the perfect balance between being able to tell a really compelling story while still giving me the freedom to kind of get my feet wet as I go, and then the fact that like if you die, it just puts you right at your last checkpoint, which the checkpoints in this game are incredibly generous.
I forgot to say that. That is definitely true, and thank heavens. So
and
that was a big quality of life improvement.
I think I've probably said enough. I just really love how awesome they made this game, how it's oozing with style and polish, and it puts me through my paces, and I am delighted.
Challenging and difficult, but fair. That's the key.
Exactly.
That's the key for me.
That is the key, exactly. All right, guys. I think that basically wraps up our discussion for this game. But basically, what we're saying is that this game is amazing.
It's fantastic.
Okay, it's fantastic.
There's almost no way the game could faceplant hard enough at this point for me to change my opinion. But you know, I guess I better be careful. I've heard that it's fantastic all the way to the end, and I'm inclined to think that's exactly what's going to happen.
So you heard it here first. Buy Metroid Dread.
Yes.
You will not regret it, right? So you heard it here first, guys. If you like this video, please give us a like. Please give us a subscribe. We're going to talk more about Metroid Dread in the future. Maybe we'll have some more live streams coming up. If you watched our live stream, it was only 15 minutes. I apologize. I got so sucked into that game that I had to just turn it off and plug it on my TV and experience it for myself. But once I'm done with the game, we'll probably have another live stream. But thank you so much for watching, and until next time, guys.
Keep it nerdy.